Hey, welcome back. Today I want to show you guys how to make a combination potato and beef salad that's made in Romania and Moldova. It's called Salată de Boeuf. Yes, that's a French word for beef in there, and no, it's not a French dish. It's actually supposedly Russian and related to the Olivier salad. So to get started, we need boeuf, or beef. Here I'm using a top round, but you could use any cut of beef as long as it's not too marbled. You don't want too much fat in there since we're not cooking this for too long, so the fat won't have too much of a chance to render out. So into a pot, let's pour a liter or so of water. We want just enough to cover the beef. Go ahead and season it with salt and pepper. And a couple bay leaves. Not too necessary since again we're not cooking for too long. I'd recommend at least a little bit of salt to season this. Bring that water to a boil. Then let's add in our beef. I've got about 500 grams here. And now let's let that boil for about 20 minutes or until the inside is a safe temperature. Set it aside to let it cool. And then chop it into 5mm cubes. And now for the vegetable component. Into a large pot, let's throw 150 grams of diced carrots. You want everything to be about the same size, so I went with 5mm. Along with that, let's add in 150 grams of diced parsnip, which by the way is related to parsley. And actually I accidentally bought parsley root, which as you can see, has parsley as the leaves. It's a totally acceptable substitution with the added benefit that you get to use those leaves instead of having to buy extra parsley. Let's throw in 150 grams of peas. I'm using frozen peas, and that's totally fine. As well as 500 grams of diced potatoes. Cover those up with water. Bring them to a boil, and cook those for about 10 minutes or until they're soft. Then you can go ahead and strain those out and set them aside to cool down. And you know what else is cool? Subscribing to my channel. I've got new recipes out every week. All right, now that everything is cooled down, let's throw it all into a big mixing bowl. Along with 150 grams of diced celery. 150 grams of diced dill pickles, and 150 grams of diced pickled peppers. I'm using hot peppers since I want a little bit of spice, but if you don't, feel free to use sweet peppers instead. Throw those on in, along with the beef, a handful of chopped parsley, and season that with some salt and pepper. And finally we need some mayonnaise, and a lot of my references made their own mayonnaise, so I figured I'd do the same here. It's a lot easier than you'd think. All you need is a stick blender and a glass or jar that's only slightly wider than your stick blender. Go ahead and crack 2 egg yolks into that vessel. Add a tablespoon or 15 mils of yellow mustard. The juice of half a lemon, about 15 mils. Season that with salt. Then we'll go in with about 100 mils of cooking oil. Put in your stick blender and make sure that the blades are covered by the eggs and lemon, because if they're not, this probably won't come together as planned. Now turn on your blender and let that go for a few seconds without moving it. Don't move it in circles, don't tilt it, just leave it be for about 10 seconds. And after that point, if you tilt it, you should start to feel a little bit of resistance, which means it's all coming together. So now you can start to lift up your blender a little bit to try and drag down the rest of that oil. After a few seconds, it should be fully mixed, and you've got fresh mayo. Honestly, this is so simple that I feel like for the amount of mayo that I eat on a regular basis, I might as well just make a single serving each time. I've always got the ingredients on hand, so why not? All right, now that we got our mayo, let's add that in. You only need enough to coat the surface of the vegetables and beef. Any more and it'll start being more of a mayo salad than a potato salad. Now let's give it a good mix so it's all incorporated. Now, this salad isn't usually served in a bowl. It's usually turned out from a mold and decorated in a way that seems to be inspired by the 70s, slathered with extra mayo, and decorated with sliced eggs and I'm gonna split the difference here and just shape it in a mold, but feel free to channel your inner Brady Bunch here. So grab a nicely shaped vessel, grease it up on the inside with some oil. And scoop in enough salad to fill it to the brim. Now let's cover that up with plastic wrap and throw it in the fridge for a few hours to set up. So that's basically a combination of a chicken salad with beef instead, a potato salad, and some of the flavors that you'd get from an egg salad through those pickles. Haven't really seen pickles in the other two types of salads, but not a bad idea. And even though it says beef in the name, a lot of the recipes called for turkey or chicken instead, so feel free to opt for that if you don't eat beef. Overall, it's a fun twist on a salad, so I'd recommend that you make this for your next barbecue or picnic. See you guys next time. Cheers.